Hello again everybody and welcome back to Fujit's Blitz, and yeah, I'm still playing catch up, and this is the Aces of the Week gallery for the third week of March, part 1. Problem is, you see, every now and then real life and work sort of intervenes. Anyway, moving on. First off, we've got Ironhead 411 of the clan The Forgotten Dynasty, rolling out in the Churchill 3, the Russian Tier 5 Heavy, which is premium tank on the NA server. So this is basically, in real life, a Churchill that was lend-leased to the Russians during the war. And its counterpart is the British Mark I Churchill, the Tech Tree tank. And this one is basically a buffed version of that. It has better armor, it has more hit points, it has slightly better reload, similar damage, but slightly worse penetration. It's a premium tank, so it's basically the Mark I but buffed. And it's a nice tier 5 tank. But like all Churchills in real life, this is a slow tank. It's got a fantastic reload. I mean, okay, it's not dishing out oodles of damage, but it's got a fast reload, and it will dish out, you know, 160 alpha on a good day. I mean, as you see there, 172. I mean, that's a good amount of damage in this tank. And, you know, I like this tank. I mean, I like most of the Churchill lines, and I mean, this particular Russian Churchill is really good fun to roll out in, and it's a good credit earner. And as you can see here, Ironhead 411 is having a great time giving that Sherman what for. And now he's going to focus on the SU and say, well, you know, I've had enough of you. And if you notice, like most Churchills, he is bouncing quite a lot of shots. He's already dished out over 1,000, he's bounced over 700, and with that really good reload and the trolley armor, he is having fantastic fun. I mean, there's a T-34. I mean, the T-34 is just going to be bouncing this thing until the cows come home. You put this thing in the right place, like Ironhead is doing here, and it's very difficult to pen a Churchill 3. Well, it's very difficult to pen most Churchills. Okay, the Mark 1's sort of not the same Mark 1 anymore, and they're a lot easier to pen. Look at this, he's bounced over 1,000 now, and he's still going. And, you know, it must be really frustrating for the other guys in that T-34 and that Hetzer to do, well, what do I need to do to pen you? Well, you probably need to load HE, but then you're going to get hardly any damage. Oh, and the T-34 finally gets around through the armor. I like this tank, and when you play it like this, it's a great laugh. I mean, 1,510 damage, 1,290 blocked. He's taken 3 kills. It really is a good tank. And as you'll see at the end, it really does make a lot of credits. And that's the idea of a premium. I mean, it's basically a buffed Mark I. Okay, a lot of people say premium tanks pay to win. They're not pay to win at all. I mean, it's no different to the Mark I, just with that slight buff, that's all. And you play this tank the same way as you play a Mark I, believe it or not. And hello, Scavenger. You know, you're not dishing out massive damage. He's left on what? Next to nothing hit points. I mean, you only have to blow in his general direction with a HE round and he's gone. And I'm surprised that nobody's put a HE in to do that. It's just the way it goes in the game. You know, that's a top tip, guys. When you've got a tank on sort of less than sort of 50 hit points, stick HE in. You'll get rid of them in next to no time. I mean, look at that. He's just bounced another 100 and something there. 1,710 bounces. He's now bounced more damage than he's dished out. I mean, that's brilliant. And, you know, hello, Scav. Goodbye, Scav. Hello, Hetzer. You know, you are still going to keep bouncing me, no doubt. Yep, you are. I'm now going to bounce 1,800. I've taken 4 kills, and you're kill number 5 if I can get round. There you go, kill number 5. If they would have just loaded HE, he would have gone. That's a fantastic game. And, you know, a well-deserved mastery and steel wall and everything else. And I'd like to thank Ironhead 411 of the Forgotten Dynasty on the North American server for kindly sharing his replay. Next up, really good friend of mine, the Scarecrow 2018 of the clan J4F, rolling out in the Churchill 7, the British tier 6 heavy on the EU server. Now, this tank is one more tier higher than the tank we've just seen, and this is a tech tree tank. However, it's pretty much the same tank, believe it or not. Okay, so it's got slightly better penetration than the Mark 1 and a lot better penetration than the Mark 3 we've just seen, but it's the same damage. It's effectively the same gun, guys. It's got more armor, it's got better hit points, it's got the same engine. Effectively, it's realistically got better DPM because it's got a better reload, and that's about it. I mean, you play the tank almost the same way. Most of the Churchills are the same, with the exception of the Black Prince, which, contrary to popular belief, is not a Churchill. Anyway, getting back to the Scarecrow. Like most Churchills, it doesn't dish out a lot of damage. It's dishing out 160 high-end alpha, but what it does do is churn out that damage quickly. Couple that with the armor, you are a formidable... I mean, look at this, he's bouncing from the right there. You are formidable. And once you get to understand this in driving a Churchill, they are good fun. They are nice tanks. They're slow, they're cumbersome. You know, they're not going to get to the battlefield anytime soon, but once they are there, these things are like the mouse in tiers 5 and 6. They're not dishing out like the mouse the massive amounts of damage for their tier, but they're doing it quicker, and they're using their armor to put them in harm's way. I mean, these are basically tanks that you play similar to a mouse in tier 10. You use the hit points and you use its armor. I mean, look at this. He's bounced over 2,000. That's double what he's dished out. He's only taken 1 kill so far, and he's giving everybody a hard time. He's now dished. I mean, look at this. I mean, that is an obscene amount of bounces, and he's still going. I mean, the poor Lippard nowadays struggles to pen anything, I must admit. But he was facing off with the KV there, and the KV struggled to pen. And here comes another KV. Hello, goodbye. 2,200 bounced. There's another Lippard. Poor Lippard. And now he's going to give him the runaround. I mean, this is great. I mean, that Lippard there must be sat there thinking, oh, it's 1 against 1. What do I need to do to pen this bloody tank? He's already taken 4 kills. He's already bounced shy of 3,000. He's already dished out over 2,000 damage. And the Lippard continues to bounce him. It's unbelievably frustrating. On a side note, it's criminal what Wargaming did to that poor little Lippard. I mean, that Lippard is now totally ineffective, realistically, in its tier. I mean, it should not be bouncing every shot on this poor Churchill. And I feel sorry for the guy. However, the Scarecrow 2018 gets the kill, gets 5 kills, bounces 3,500 odd damage, dishes out 2,500. It's a well-deserved mastery, and I love watching that game. And I'd like to thank the Scarecrow 2018 of the clan J4F for kindly supplying that replay. Next up, we've got IPoopedMyBigBoyPants of the clan United as Everyone, rolling out in the T-71, the American Tier 7 light tank on the Asian server. Now, this is a funky little tank, and a lot of people don't get on with it. And it's basically that tank that leads you up to the T-69 and eventually to the T-57 Heavy. It is a proper light tank. It has 0 armor. It's got a relatively nice gun. It's got a good autoloader, funnily enough. I mean, it will dish out nice damage. But it's a light tank, and it's like the AMX. It's a bit bigger, the profile's a bit taller, although you can see there it's very squat and it's very, you know, tightly packaged, and it's got that funky turret with no depression but great elevation. So this tank is a tricky tank to get on with. It's not the easiest tank to play. And it's quirky, because it brings something different to the game. I mean, you are now playing a technically difficult tank with an autoloader, with no armor, with good mobility. And it's got light tank camouflage, which means obviously, you know, it's quite good. I mean, what you get stationary, you get moving. And it's a nice tank, but it is a tricky tank to play. And IPoopedMyBigBoyPants is going out in this little thing, and already he's dished out over 1,000 damage. Don't expect to see lots of bounces, because you're not going to see them. Not in this thing, because, you know, most things on the battlefield will pen this thing. But what it does have the ability to do is be a real nuisance and plow a lot of firepower down. I mean, each shell has the ability to do an high-end alpha of about 160, and the burst damage is 420. I mean, that's quite a lot at this tier. You know, it's a tier 7, and it's a light tank. But, and I keep coming back to this, guys, you know, you stick it anywhere near the front line, and people are going to go through you like a very hot knife through melted butter. So, he's finally taken a kill. You know, he's been active, and he's done over 1,000 damage, and he's finally taken a kill. Oh, and look, you do get a bounce. I was wrong. I mean, that's very rare that you see this thing bounce. They must have hit his gun there, because this thing very rarely bounces anything, I'll be honest with you. And if you do get to bounce it, it's more luck than judgment. What you do get to do, however, is move around the battlefield, like IPoopedMyBigBoyPants has done here, and plow a lot of firepower down and waste tanks. He's now got 2 kills. He's now done over 2,000 damage, and he's bounced 100, interestingly. Now he's up against a Tiger, and look at this for mobility. I mean, Tiger hasn't got a chance. He just swipes him and then disappears. He's facing off Tiger and an SU. 2 formidable tanks for this little thing, because both of them can waste him with a good HE roll in real terms. So he's getting the hell out of dodge. And you can do that in this. Oh, look at that. Do a bit of Tokyo Drift on Himmelsdorf in a T-71. And why not? It's good fun. Now he's going to go back. He's reset his camo, because he's a light tank with light tank camo. And he's hoping that they're all now focused on his mucker. He's coming back in. He's going to try and get behind the SU. Oh, no, it's the Tiger first. And look at this. Plow some. Oh, hello, Tiger. I'm going to. Oh, and another bounce. He must have hit the turret. Very optimistic ram, but it worked. Interesting. Never seen many people ram in a T-71. What a fantastic game. Well deserved mastery, and I'd like to thank IPoopedMyBigBoyPants of the clan UAE for kindly sharing his replay with us, because it was really good fun to watch you roll out in that T-71. A tricky little tank. Last but by no means least, my good friend Harrier77 of the clan 49 div, rolling out in his favourite tier 6, the KV-2, the Russian heavy tank on the EU server. Now everybody knows everything about the KV-2, so let's not go into too much detail. All we need to know is this: Harrier has not got anything loaded other than the big derpy gun that fires HE. It's that simple. And all we're going to see is Harrier firing a shed load of HE like that into that scav. It's brilliant. I mean, this thing is just a good stress reliever at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong, in a lot of games it will not work to your advantage because it's got an excessively long reload, as we all know. I'm just going to have a sip of coffee. But it has the ability to dish out a lot of derp. And that's why we love it. Unless you're facing it, then you don't love it. Unless you're in an AMX, then you can get underneath it, and it can't do anything because it has no gun depression. Thing about this tank is, I mean, a Harrier will tell you, I mean, look at this. Hello. I can stick 423 into you, I can track you, hopefully now somebody else is going to wipe you out, and they're doing their very best to do so. And that Type 58 is just in a world of pain at this moment in time. And that's why people love the KV-2. Okay, it has the ability to knock tanks out in one shot. Because it does. I mean, this is the Death Star of Tier 6. And now that Wargame released the Smasher, you've now got the Death Star at Tier 7 as well. Albeit at a cost. But the thing about this tank is, and this is the problem with this tank, it's not an easy tank to play. Okay, it's got a derpy gun, but it's not a point and shoot. I mean, it takes forever for the aim time to go. The dispersion is absolutely awful. And you've really got to understand the mechanics of this thing. its armor isn't that great either. When it comes off, it's brilliant. And I mean, look at that. I mean, it's only 160 roll, but it doesn't matter. He's taking over 1,000 damage so far, and he's only dished out, so he's only killed one tank. And this is the thing with the KV2. The long reload, coupled with the dispersion, the long aim time, that reticle takes forever to shrink. I mean, look at this. And if you're not close, and this is the thing about the KV2, if you're trying to snipe in it, then best of luck with that, because it ain't going to happen, guys. You've got to be almost up close and personal, because the reticle takes far too long for it to close, and the dispersion is absolutely awful. But when you're close like this, then you don't really need to aim. You just point the gun in the general direction and let the HE do the rest. This is why it's a tricky tank. And a lot of people don't get that. They just see these games, they think, oh, it's an easy tank to get. Oh, hello. There's a T25 trying to push a KV2. That's always good fun. Really, because once Harry is loaded, he can point in the general direction, and it's goodbye, T25. So what's he doing here? Well, he's going to try and flush him out. It's as simple as that. I mean, Harry is on next to nothing hit points, and the T25 just needs to load HE, and Harry is gone. It's that straightforward. But we've got a Mexican standoff. I mean, neither wants to push, neither wants to die. Harry has done shy of 2,000 damage, he's taken 3 kills, he's taken a cap, so he's been adding up to his XP pool. Hello, there you go. Oh, and it's a miss. Oh, there you go, about the KV2's gun. At a distance, guys, and that's not a massive distance there, it is a wild, wild gun. And now he's had to drop the adrenaline, and now he's hoping that he can reload. Oh, and he gets a nice bounce, very lucky bounce there. And he has to hope, really hope. And he's got the reload now. And look, boom. And the mistake that the T25 made, didn't load HE. If he would have loaded HE, he wouldn't have bounced, Harry would be dead. That's a well-deserved mastery, just over 2,000 damage, 4 kills, cap to base, brilliant. And I'd like to thank everybody who supplied their replays this week. So big thanks go out to Ironhead411, The Scarecrow 2018, IPoopedMyBigBoyPants, and Harrier77. Guys, it's been a pleasure to watch you get your masteries in those tanks. I've been Fujit. Those have been the guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had some good fun watching how to get these aces. By all means, if you've got any decent replays, send them to me at fujitsblitz@gmail.com. Comment, like, dislike, do what you like below. I mean, tell me your thoughts. And if you haven't yet, please press subscribe. It's a nice thing to do. And until the next time, stay safe out there, have fun on the battlefield, and happy tanking. You know, that's what it's all about, fun and happiness.